Good morning. I'm coming to you today from Hollywood Beach. Came back out this morning to do some sunrise photography here at the beach. Today I've come out here with my Fuji X-T5, and along with that I brought my brand new lens, the 16 to 50 2.8 to 4.8 lens. This is the first time I'm trying this lens out, and I'm trying it out here today for some sunrise photography at Hollywood Beach. For something like a sunrise, you want to shoot raw so that you can go ahead and process the image to your liking. I do have the color profile to vivid for my sunrise photos, also using the Freewell magnetic filter system. What I did is I used step-up rings, go from 58 to 77 millimeters. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to go ahead and walk the strip here. There's a lot of beautiful buildings and architecture here to photograph, and there's going to be some real nice orange glow on these buildings and some beautiful blue skies with nice puffy clouds. So I'm going to go ahead and walk the strip and take some images, and we'll see if I can come home with some good photos today. The way the sun rises, it really lights up the entire boardwalk. All the buildings will get this nice orange glow to them. I saw these chairs that were stacked, and the way that the sun was hitting them, it really made for an interesting abstract photograph. The Bel Air apartment building drew my attention because of the nice lighting that it was getting from the right-hand side. And what I love about this image is how I have 5 different compositions of the same subject. And most of these images were composed mainly by moving my feet. If you notice, the shutter speed, the aperture, and the millimeter range really didn't change all that much for these 5 images. For this photo of the aqua shop, I saw that my shadow was in the image, so I actually went off to the right a little bit, take the image where my shadow was not in the picture. The nice thing about having a zoom lens is that I saw that for this photo of the building with the table and the umbrella, that my shadow was actually in the image. So what I did then is use the zoom on the lens to go ahead and zoom my shadow out of the picture and get the composition that I was originally getting when I was just a few steps closer. Big advantage of having a zoom lens. Photo of the sign with the address of the building. I found it interesting. I wanted to take a photo of it, but I didn't want to just have a picture of the sign because it kind of said nothing. So I went ahead and moved around and found a composition that I'm hoping that would work. I went ahead and opened up the aperture to throw out that background. And then I also shot one at a smaller aperture to see how well the image quality performed with this lens. One thing that I like about this image also, it'll show me how sharp it is on the edges of the lens. I decided to photograph this building in black and white because the building is white with the gray trim. My film simulation for the black and white is across, and I am using the red filter on the settings for these pictures so that I can get those darker blue skies. I took 2 images of the fire hydrant, one at f4.2 and the other at f8. And the reason for that is I went ahead and put the fire hydrant on the edge of the frame, and I want to see how the edge sharpness is using the FUJIFILM 16 to 50mm lens. This gives me an opportunity to see at wide open and close down to f8 to see just how good the sharpness is with the 16 to 50mm lens. I finally exhausted the battery on my Fuji X-T5, got it 203 images off. Don't think that that's not a lot. Remember, I was doing long exposures this morning, getting photos of the sunrise, so that's going to exhaust the battery quite a bit because of the long exposures and the time that the camera is actually taking the photo and processing the images. So 203 images I don't believe is too bad. I'll share with you a couple of thoughts regarding the Fuji X-T5 along with the 16 to 50mm lens. I'm actually kind of surprised for a person that's been shooting with fixed lenses for so long now with the Fuji, because that's something that I really enjoy, is that I'm actually finding the 16 to 50mm to be a little bit short sometimes when I want to zoom in. But it's definitely a big advantage to have that range between the 16 to 50mm. It really gives me a lot of different composition opportunities, and it's also kind of nice not to have to be digging in and out of my camera bag looking for a fixed lens to put on the camera. One thing I'm liking about the FUJIFILM XF16 to 50mm lens is the throw to zoom in and out is very short. This photograph, I turned the camera vertically and I used the flip screen to compose the image as I was trying to get that door to be in the frame and not cut it off in any way when I was framing it with the arch. I mentioned earlier how I was surprised to find find that the 50mm range was kind of short. I did own the Fujifilm 16 to 80mm lens before, and I like that lens for the most part, but once you went up to the 40 megapixel cameras, it's not one of the lenses that's in the list of Fujifilm lenses that actually take advantage of the 40 megapixels. And for that reason, I went ahead and sold that lens. I also didn't find it to be particularly sharp. One thing that I've noticed the Fujifilm 16 to 50mm lens doing when I'm focusing, and this is in single autofocus, is that when I press the shutter button, it'll go like back and forth real quick before it actually focuses on the subject. This is not humans, this is photographing buildings and structures. Kind of disappointing that the lens does that. You would want it to just quickly snap into focus and not do this little skipping thing back and forth. Saw bicyclists coming by. I took a couple of images as they went across. And I also had the autofocus set to continuous autofocus for these images. For this image of the sundial sculpture on the wall, I went ahead and shot the image at f8, and I focused on the sundial on the edge of the frame. And let's see how good the sharpness is on this image. The zooming in and out from 60 to 50mm feels very smooth. If anything, maybe a little too smooth. Your hand doesn't really even change position much. You can do it with your thumb pretty well. Another thing I did was shoot from the hip where I'm not even looking, and it's kind of funny because in some ways it's not enjoyable in the sense that if I'm not looking through the viewfinder or the back screen, it just doesn't feel like I'm involved. And it's kind of weird to not really be seeing what your composition is. I turned everything to automatic, the shutter speed, the aperture, set the face and eye autofocus tracking. Hope you guys have enjoyed the video out here today. I ask you to please like and subscribe and share your thoughts and opinions, and I thank you for watching.